Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, let's pull up this screen. You're going to like this one. Yeah, Vols sink Vandy. They sweep them 3 games in a row. Absolutely a huge win. We're going to have a portal update. We've got a high 4-star cornerback that's available. Just happened, as a matter of fact. We're going to get into all that kind of stuff. But first, we got to talk about this Vanderbilt game. You know, if you watched it Friday night, they went in there and they were behind in the 9th and had to hit 2 home runs to get into extra innings. And then at the bottom of the 12th, they get a home run and walk-off victory, 4-3. And then the next game, they absolutely pulverized Vanderbilt, beat them into submission, the 12-run rule. And then today, they jumped on them early and often. And at one point, it was 9-0. It looked like there was going to be another run rule deal, but they wound up beating them 10-5. And let's look at their box scores here. As you can see here. And they only had 6 hits, but they were all home runs in that first game. And then 17 runs the next one. And then again today, 10-5. And this is absolutely huge for the Vols. They have been struggling like nobody's business. And they were 5-10 in the SEC, and it wasn't looking good to get into the NCAA, SEC tournament, anything. And now that they picked up a big-time sweep against the number 2 team in the country, which the Vols have got the talent. They just haven't really pulled together and got the chemistry right and played well. Well, this weekend they got it going. And I think that home run in the 12th inning Friday night really just kind of flipped a switch and got the team going positive. And all of a sudden they just took off and they scored, 27 runs the next 2 games. So, you know, sometimes that happens in sports. You know, you make a 10 or 20-foot putt, it's just critical. Maybe it's to save a par, and next thing you know, you go birdie, birdie, birdie. And that can happen. You know, it just momentum's a big thing in sports. And for the Vols, obviously, it played a huge role. So now they're kind of back in business. Now, they could use another sweep coming up. But anyway, I just thought that was a fantastic weekend for the Vols, and I enjoyed every minute of it. And I got to watch a lot of it today. So, good for the Vols and too bad for Vandy.
J-10, early is front like battleship.
Such a shame. Well, let's get into the transfer portal. We've got a cornerback that we might have some interest in. He was a big-time 4-star, and I'll show you that. And this is Marcus Washington Jr. He just entered the portal, and he's a Georgia defensive back, and he was a very high 4-star. I think his rating was a 95 or a 96, so, you know, he wasn't a 5-star, but he was closer to a 5-star than he was a 3-star, that's for sure. And let's take a look at the transfer portal. As far as defensive backs, he's the number 1 rated one available. Again, Marcus Washington right here. He had a 94 rating, very high 4-star, and I believe that was on 3. I think he was a little bit higher on 247. But as you can see, you know, he's at the top of the list as far as a defensive back. And look, I'm not convinced that we couldn't use some more help at cornerback. We almost got the fellow from Ole Miss who was a starter, which would have been ideal, but I think he got paid a little bit more money to go elsewhere, which is, you know, so be it. But this would be a nice pickup, and there's another cornerback that's available out of Penn State, and his name is Storm Duck, which is a fantastic football name. It's almost as good as Squirrel White. We could have Squirrel White on offense and Storm Duck on defense. That'd be great for a YouTuber like me. You know I like to have fun with stuff like that. And the other cornerbacks that are available, there aren't a ton of really high-end ones. It's really these 2 guys. It's the Storm Duck. He was actually all-conference in the ACC. And then, again, this Marcus Washington was a very big-time get for Georgia back in 2022. So he'd have a lot of years left. And I know the Vols are somewhat interested in picking up another offensive lineman, and there's some available in here that look pretty good. You know, Lance Robinson out of University of Houston. And I think the Vols also offered a guy from Wyoming, an Emmanuel fella. But there's also a Deshaun Woods available out of the same team, Wyoming. And then a few more players here that are possibilities. But it looks to me like the top end one is probably Lance Robinson or the Deshaun Woods. So there's a lot still going on in the transfer portal. And I know Florida's looking for a quarterback real bad. And 5 of them just entered just recently. And it doesn't look like there's any big-time ones that are in there right now. Probably the biggest one is Ben Bryant out of Cincinnati. You know, he's considered a 4-star, a low 4-star. The rest of them are all 3-stars. And I'm not really sure what Florida's going to do. They need another quarterback, though. You know, this business of trying to get a junior or a sophomore high school player to come early is ridiculous. We talked about that the other day. But, yeah, they're going to need some help. And we need some help at cornerback, I think, and offensive line, unless they're comfortable. I know we brought in the fella from BYU that looks like he's going to be very helpful to us. So we may be okay there, but, you can always use a little more help in those weak areas. So anyway, just wanted to do a quick update. Like I said, I couldn't be more happy for the Tennessee Vols baseball team. That's just a fantastic sweep. And the transfer portal's, wide open right now. So there's going to be a lot of activity over the next week or two. And we'll see how that all plays out if Tennessee picks up a player or two. And we'll see who all enters from our team. We might have one or two that'll enter the portal as well if they've realized after spring practice they're not going to get to play. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's be able to continue to cover the Vols and baseball, well, always football, baseball, basketball, all that good stuff. And if you're not subscribed, it's right here on the left. Just hit that little button. Costs you nothing. Helps me out. I would appreciate that. And also right over here is my most recent video. Check that one out. And we will see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.